When Compost Universe needed him the most, Donner and the Devil disappeared. But now, he's back for revenge. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Verse. Rob Moon from Compost Universe. Behind the camera, as always, Joel from Dead Within Days. You may notice I have a guest with me after a few episodes without. You may recognize this character. If not, you're not watching enough of The Verse. Introduce yourself, my friend.
I'm Dan Walsh, Daughter and the Devil. It's good to be back here. Last time I was on the verse, my EP, Warning Signs, was currently in production. Now it's been out for a while, so we're going to do a deep dive on it today.
We're going to go song by song. We're going to dive into the story, what it's all about. Maybe you learned something new about that today. Quickly tell us about Donner and the Devil and where the EP fits into that.
Right, so Daughter and the Devil, the whole concept is the story of a wayward soul in the afterlife. It's about a boy who died too young, and he's basically given a free pass to heaven in the afterlife, but he rejects it because it means letting go of his individuality and his ego, and he's not ready to let go of that. So he wanders limbo instead, looking for answers, looking for meaning.
Now the EP, is this like his beginning?
This is like his origin story, yeah. This is the very beginning of Donner's journey in the afterlife.
And it's called Warning Signs, right?
Warning Signs, yes.
I know it's on Bandcamp. Is it anywhere else?
It's available on everything.
Everything. Cool. Spotify, YouTube. So let's talk about Warning Signs.
Right. So Warning Signs is basically like the introduction. It sets up a lot of important themes, specifically music, just from a pure music composition standpoint, because the whole thing is instrumental, right? The narrative is entirely instrumental. So it sets up a lot of important reoccurring themes that are going to happen again in later songs that transform. It sets up the whole narrative.
So what is that narrative? So where is it? Like where does that intro? What should I? If I don't have the lyrics, right? Like if I'm listening to an Iron Maiden album, I'm looking at the lyrics,
right? So
and then I see how the music guides that, but it's just the music.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I listened to it twice again in preparation for this, and it's like it comes in as just, it's like melodic chaos. It's like pure, just, it's like surprisingly heavy. Like I don't know, it comes
surprisingly heavy is kind of the point.
Yeah.
Because there are these surprising elements of darkness that pop up that represent the darkness within Donner that he himself isn't aware of. And that's kind of the point of the story. It's him coming to terms with the darkness in himself that he had already cast out, that he doesn't remember at the beginning of this journey. He makes a deal with the devil to remove all of his painful memories that he's not aware of.
So the title Warning Signs, what exactly are we being warned of? Is it that darkness?
So the warning signs, it's, kind of like red flags. It's like, it's the things that are already there that he's not paying attention to. It's the signs that are around him all along, that there's this darkness in him and all around him.
So I know you talked a lot in the last episode about kind of like resentment and holding pain in, manifesting like disease and decay.
Yeah.
I think both in...
It's also,
I don't know
it's
how much
also longing, right? Donner feels he was robbed of all of these different things in life. He died too young. He didn't get a chance to adventure, to explore, to really become himself, to grow into himself, to become the person that he thinks he was meant to be. So Warning Signs, the song, it's adventures, right? It's crazy, it's wild, it's hectic, it's all over the place. So it sets up the tone for the rest of the thing. And then there are these moments, that pop up that get very dark and very heavy. It almost feels like it comes out of nowhere. And those set up the darker moments later on where he's starting to remember the truth about himself and the nature of things.
Oh, okay. So it starts with him being like in the dark, unaware, and then he starts to remember stuff as he goes on.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting.
One of the things that I especially love about Warning Signs is there's this one moment in the middle of it. It's a very quick moment. It's one of those heavy moments that we just talked about. It's very quick, it comes and goes, but it's one of the most important moments of the whole EP because it sets up a lot of later moments. It sets up a couple of later songs.
So when you say sets up later songs, like it establishes like a melodic
It's
theme,
like,
or
yeah, it's a
motif?
melodic theme that acts as like foreshadowing.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's almost like a musical, like you'd see on Broadway.
No, it's 100%. That's how I treated the composition of this whole EP. It's a very deliberate, very intentional narrative.
Great.
It tells the story entirely through musical themes.
What I love too that you did on the EP. I'm gonna pick up my phone for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what the hell I put it? On the Bandcamp, I was looking at it today when I listened to it. I didn't notice it the first time, and I know Bandcamp. I work with Bandcamp a lot, so I see the little marker for what looks like lyrics, and I'm like, what is this? He doesn't have lyrics. And you got like the individual track artwork, this like hand with the fire in it. And I read Preamble to the Twofold Tale of Collapse, the tale of a lost soul led astray by demons and darkness, and the tale of a people fallen, prey to an unjust system in its death thrones.
Yes.
And then you have Dan Walsh guitar and bass, and Ivan Kornienko on drums. And I'm just,
also, speaking of Ivan, one thing I want to make sure
that.
I say is just a huge shout out and thank you to my friend and drummer Ivan, because his work is incredible, and I could not have brought this behemoth of an EP to life the way that we did without him. He's absolutely critical to this work.
I gotta say, the drumming on these songs is
unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's a beast. He's a beast.
So I saw that, and I'm like, oh, he's kind of giving you. Is that also on the other platforms, those notes, or is that just something?
That's only on Bandcamp.
So if you listen to Donner and the Devil on Bandcamp, he's giving you story notes to kind of follow
little
along.
Tidbits of the lore. And the twofold tale, that represents how it's not just about the narrative, the fictional narrative of Donner. There's also a real life narrative behind it as well. There's a lot of layers to it. There's my own personal journey, which informs and inspires Donner's. And then there's the dreaded political angle, which is never something that I set out to do intentionally. But when I observe my experience as a human being, I realize that there are some parts of that are fundamentally political, whether or not I want to acknowledge them as such.
So you're saying what you see in the world, what happens,
what I see in the world
around us, kind of,
as well as my own experience within it, right? Like, for example, our existence as artists, I feel, in a world led by people that are actively trying to undermine human artistry, that's an inherently political thing. My existence as a
building a giant
person,
fucking data center in the middle of a city. Yeah, that's helpful to us. I really appreciate when they do that.
Yeah. My existence as a sick, disabled person is also inherently political within systems that actively try to undermine my care, my access to care.
I mean, shit, having, I'm type 1 diabetes.
Right.
I deal.
We all can relate.
We know Joel has his own things going on too. So.
Oh, yeah. So these are the things, the political aspect of it, that unfortunately informs my existence, which informs the narrative of Donner.
I like the twofold tale of collapse, because you're it's like you're paralleling the story of this character with your real life.
And so in those Bandcamp notes, you'll see there's almost like a title in those notes, and it relates to this conspiracy theory. I don't know how much we want to get into it, but
get into it.
All right. There's this conspiracy theory, right? And it's at this point it's basically confirmed, but there's the theory that Russia had this decades-long plan to undermine and destroy the U.S. from within without firing a shot. And it's a 4-stage plan. And the stages are the things that are listed on the Bandcamp. It's demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and normalization.
Oh, in each of the other songs, demoralization.
Yes. So Warning Signs is the intro. It sets everything up. And then the 4 tracks that follow in some way represent the 4 stages of that plan. or
Oh,
the
shit.
results of that plan through the people experiencing pain as a result of that plan.
Wow.
And
All right.
and it's important. It's important as well because my drummer Ivan lives and works in Ukraine.
Oh,
Yes, so
That's right.
he's very personally attached to that theme.
I see. So you're doing this remotely. I forgot. Your
Yes,
drummer lives
yes, we
in
work together
Ukraine.
remotely. Yeah, there's my personal story, the personal narrative, which informs Donner's fictional narrative. Then there's the greater geopolitical angle, and it's important to note that my friend and drummer Ivan lives and works in Ukraine,
Right.
which is affected obviously by Russia's war of aggression. So that also plays into the narrative. That plays into it. And then there's the fourth angle, which is just the pure musical composition, because there's a very intentional, deliberate narrative told through melody.
So let's move on to track 2, Wayward Soul.
Yeah. So this is really the proper beginning of the story, right? The first song, Warning Signs, was an introduction. It was like a medley, and it was mostly setup. It was like a preview of everything that's to come. The proper beginning of Donner's journey is with Wayward Soul. Donner is the Wayward Soul. So this is his theme, right? This is his theme. There's a melody that starts off the song that starts slow and it gradually picks up tempo. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That's Donner's theme. And the really interesting thing about that melody is that comes back in a different key in Weeping Demon during the solo section of that song. And that hints at a deeper connection between the Wayward Soul and the Weeping Demon.
So, is there a significance to it being in a because the different key that's a different character, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different character, but it's the same melody, right? So it's hinting that even though it appears or sounds rather different, that they're actually connected.
See.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Wayward Soul in the fictional narrative, this is when Donner first realizes he's dead. He's in the afterlife. He's on what's known as the dead line. It's basically a line of souls that are being led to their destinations, to where they gotta go, whether that's heaven or hell or purgatory. And he's told he's just gotta stay in line. He's gotta stay in line and go where he's told to go. But the further along he gets in this line, the more and more uneasy he feels. And he's let off of the line. He feels compelled to step out of line.
Stepping out of line, would that be like temptation, or does it seem more as like rebellion, like what?
It's both. He feels like he's not done, you know? He's led to understand that when he gets to the end of this line, he's gonna have to let go of who he is. And he's not ready to do that. So he steps out of line. He wants to hold on to his ego, to his identity, and he wants to explore. He wants the chance to further develop as a person in a way that he feels he was robbed of in life.
So, what's your personal narrative that's coming through on Wayward Soul?
Right, so like I mentioned, Donner's story is very much influenced by my own personal story and my own struggle with illness throughout my life, chronic illness. And in a lot of ways, I have felt like Donner, where at times I've felt like because of my illness, I was robbed of opportunities that the average person might have that I don't. At least that's how it's felt at times. And when you when you live with a physical disability, it tends to create resentment if you let it. If you let it stew, it can eat at you.
Right.
Right. And that's what it's really about. And it's that feeling of dissatisfaction that comes with that, and looking for more, and like trying to figure out what you are outside of just your given place. There's a lot of things that are out of control in our life. How we're born, where we're born, what family we're born into, illness to a large extent. I mean, somewhat. There's a lot of things that are out of our control. And when you have even less than the average person, it leaves you with a lot of questions and it can make you bitter. And it has at points in my life made me bitter like that. And it's made me yearn for more.
It's made you step out of line.
Step out of line, that's right. It made
Damn,
me...
Joel. I was just gonna say that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
Fall break.
it's taken me to dark places. It absolutely has, and that's the point. That's what this EP is an exploration of. It's where that takes you.
So that resentment that you're describing, does that tie into the other aspect of this we're talking about, the greater global look at that?
Absolutely. I mean, when you break it down, the systems that affect my life and like everyone's life, they're larger systems that have been in play for generations and generations that we largely have no control over, like capitalism. You know, it really is the root of many types of suffering. And so there's that element, and then there's, of course, the four-stage conspiracy theory that we mentioned. So demoralization, that's the first stage of this plan. And the point of that stage of this plan is to get everyone feeling exactly as I described. It's to demoralize the people. It's to break their wills. It's to get them restless and angry and easy to manipulate, you know?
I like how you're pointing out on like just a layman's way of being like, we live in a society, and then like this whole analogy of like waiting in the death line and then being compelled to step out of that line. It's kind of like being smothered in like the social norms of society, like to stand in line like you have your entire life,
Yeah.
and even after your life's over, you're
Get
still
your social
standing
security
in line.
number.
You know,
It's
you're
all where to
still in
go.
a society that's a conveyor belt to nowhere,
Yeah.
and to be able to be aware of it and be like, no, I need to step. Not even know what's on the other side, but to be so compelled to step out of that line,
Yes.
and accomplishing the audience awareness of society itself objectively to kind of set the stage of where you want to go is a really good place to start. I really like that.
Knowing in your heart that there's more to it than that. You might not know what it is, but you know that this isn't it. You know. And you have to see where it takes you.
The stepping in the line metaphor, it gives me a very like unsettling feeling, like the visual of someone just like not really, almost like on a puppet string walking on a line, just naturally to death, to wherever it's decided for them that they're going. And
Yeah.
then, but Donner stepping out, it almost gives me like kind of like, like The Giver or like Anthem, like those dystopian novels that you may have read in high school, whatever, middle school. It gives me that, like that. There's that one guy that goes
Those
off.
books,
right?
those are warning signs, man. Those are the warning signs.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind
People
of
have always known.
message it gives me.
People have always known about this stuff.
Will you explore the wasteland?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? So the third track on this is labeled Weeping Demon. I've listened to it. It's really good. I know Rob has too. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that track?
Weeping Demon. Right. So when Donner steps off the deadline, when he starts wandering into the darkness, into when he starts exploring limbo, he's approached by all of these shady creatures, all of these beings that want to manipulate him. One is the Weeping Demon. He's someone that tells him he knows what he's looking for. He knows who he needs to hate. He knows where he needs to go. He knows what he's looking for. He's the manipulator. But there's more to it than that, right? Like I mentioned, there's that melody.
Right.
The same melody, Donner's theme in Wayward Soul, repeats in the solo section of Weeping Demon, hinting at a deeper connection between these two characters that Donner's not aware of. And as it goes further along, the song gets more intense and the connection becomes more clear between them.
Okay. So, would you say that as the connection's becoming more clear, like maybe the melody's getting a little more, like it
gets darker.
It's almost hinted.
The context in which this melody comes back is much darker. Right.
Now, I remember, I'm going to say this I know there's some gearheads in the audience. I know you show me a certain item which inspired the name.
Yes. Yeah, so the original conception for Weeping Demon, before I had the concept of the EP as a whole, Warning Signs, Weeping Demon is the name of my wah pedal. It's the Ibanez Weeping Demon.
Yeah, so our guitar
WD7.
nerds. That's for our guitar nerds. Shout out Tom Galloway.
Yeah, and I've had this pedal for a long time. There's a lot of really interesting history behind it. And I've always had a lot of fun with it. And one day I was like, I'm gonna make a song about this fucking pedal. But then it became so much more than that, you know. But that in and of itself, there's a lot to that because, like I said, that pedal has a lot of history. I've had that for a lot of years. I bought that from my friend John, my bandmate from Old Bones,
Shout out Old Bones.
years and years ago. So I got that from one of my best friends that I've known for like most of my life. And actually, it was used on one of Old Bones songs too.
Cool.
Made a guest appearance there, but it goes way back further than that. You know, John and the guys from Old Bones and we've been in a bunch of different bands over the years. So that pedal, it's like it's a part of our connection as like musicians and friends and brothers. So that's what that means to me too.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
So that's almost like.
So that's why I had to rep the Old Bone shirt.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like that almost ties into the personal.
Because yeah, Weeping Demon has a long history that comes from my bond with the guys in Old Bones.
You started to touch on it. Tell me about what this song fits in for you, like in your life.
For me personally, so yeah, like I was talking about in Wayward Soul, that dissatisfaction in life can lead you down a dark path. Weeping Demon is kind of what happens when you start to allow yourself to embrace that, when you start to allow yourself to go down that path. It's temptation, right? It's letting go of control. You know, that can come in the form of addiction or, you know, letting an illness get out of control. And that, you know, that's kind of what it was for me. It's when my life felt like it was consumed with illness and I got to a point where I just stopped fucking caring. You know, I just stopped fucking caring. And like, you want to have fun, you want to lose control, and you are intentionally not careful, you know, taking chances, being risky.
I can totally relate to that at certain times.
I think a lot of people can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. Sometimes you need a wake up call to get your ass back in check. You know.
Yeah.
And that can be really scary.
Yeah, and the other angle of it, with Weeping Demon, going down that darker path, it's also about manipulators, right? Whether that's a political figure or it's a mentor or a father figure or a friend or whatever. It's the bad influences, you know? And sometimes that influence comes from within, even. Sometimes there's that devil on your shoulder, you know, talking in your ear, giving you bad ideas, and usually you say...
The Faustian bargain.
Yeah. Usually you brush it off and say, no, I can't do that. But when you let go of your inhibitions, that devil gets real loud, you know?
Sometimes he seems more alluring. Yeah, when you feel like you have nothing
when
to lose.
you feel like you have nothing to lose, you let that thing take control. And so that's Weeping Demon. He shows up and he says, this is what you need to do. Just let go. Let go. Embrace. I know this is who you should hate. This is, you know, this is how you should feel. This is what's responsible for all the things troubling you. This is how you deal with it. Let me show you. You know?
Wow.
Like a lot of institutions we know.
Yes.
Exactly. One thing I think is because I'm putting this together while I'm listening to you two discuss it, and one sentence that keeps ringing in my mind is like, in the wasteland, you know, it's filled with like these almost like dark reflections of oneself, you know, and that's why they're so tempting, because there's a familiarity there. You know, like every 10 thoughts you have, one might be a dark thought, and then this manifestation, this demon, is somewhat seductive yet unfamiliar because it is probably an amalgamation of all the shadows that you've cast in your life, and not really being able to realize that and recognize its face puts you in a position of almost like subliminal self-discovery, which I think is really interesting.
That's literally what the weeping demon is. Donner isn't aware of it at first, but it is literally his own inner darkness made manifest.
When you said the devil on your shoulder gets louder, and he was like, "This is who to hate. This is who to project that fucking rage at."
Yes.
Does am I wrong to say that ties into the grander global
Of course.
idea of this one?
Of course. It's, politicians, world leaders telling you, this is our enemy, this is our enemy, this is who we should be backing, this is who we should be hating. It's it's the manipulators on the world stage.
I see rhetoric from everybody. It's not one group in particular. That's just so, like, when you're on the fucking internet and talking to people, you just feel like people really just feel emboldened to be like, just say the most horrible shit to each other.
Well,
Like,
that's that
over the littlest things.
That's that destabilization plan in action.
Yeah.
Those are the bubbles on the boiling water.
So
right
yeah,
there.
that's destabilization. That's weeping demon. That's what it
Take
represents.
away everything, make people scared and
Your
afraid.
inhibitions are gone.
They'll save
You're-
you. You just have to kill your neighbor.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the temptation.
That's the destabilization.
That's part one right there.
That shit is like, it's like, you see like
It's how people get people to rally together and like lynch people and like.
yeah, like you can see a murder happen.
That's not. I don't feel like that's inherently in a person's nature until they're manipulated into going down that path.
I want to believe that. I really do. But that you think about, okay, like humans discovered fire, right?
Yeah.
By whatever they say, rubbing two sticks together, or the stoned ape theory, whatever you want to say. But
yeah.
We discovered fire, and we're able to eat like cooked meat and animals, and it expands our consciousness, and you follow that to its natural conclusion, and it's fucking the atomic bomb.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
You bring up a very interesting point, Rob, because I think a way to describe what Dan is telling us is the dangers of tribalism. And when you talk about the discovery of fire, you go back to the time where tribalism was necessary for our species survival, and it's something that's stayed with us even to the modern era. With politics and societies and different groups like that. And even musically, like even back in the day, you could sell out a huge stadium to everybody on the block, and now it's about creating a niche community where you can connect individually with people, and that's another way of that's tribalism. So there's good tribalism and there's bad tribalism, and I think what Dan is trying to say is that depending on your self-awareness, you have the freedom of will to choose what parts of your nature you're going to embrace despite outside influences. Because those outside influences are there. They're all the weeping devil. They're all you. Humans are one consciousness split into billions of ignorant pieces.
Yeah.
And so it like art imitates real life in the sense where whether it be political tribalism, social tribalism, or even like musical tribalism, they're constant themes in real life, and if they didn't exist, we wouldn't have Donner and the Devil, which was a good way to look at it, but also a very real way to look at it, because these will always exist, even in the future, 1,000 years from now. So I think it's a very prevalent,
absolutely,
place to be.
So, musically, in that section I mentioned where Donner's theme comes back up, it's the solo section, right? So in the background, it's Donner's theme from Wayward Soul. And then there's that really bombastic, crazy wah solo that comes over it.
Right.
And that's the Weeping Demon, and that represents his influence, getting all up in Donner shit, you know what I'm saying?
That's, okay, that's that.
It's his will starting to invade Donner's.
That's that melodic carnage.
Yes.
That's fucking cool. So let's get on to number 4. That's Wavering Will.
Yes. So this song is very special to me. This is probably mine and Ivan's favorite track. It was probably the most technically challenging next to the finale, and it's the most experimental, and it's the most emotionally raw, I feel like.
There's like a section, I don't know if it's about 2 minutes in, where you kind of like slow down. It's like that long.
It's the free tempo section. It's where everything, all the rules get thrown to the wayside, and I
Gives me
just
very like sad vibes.
it's an unplanned, just improvised moment intentionally, just having fun and just like letting go of all inhibition. That was the point of the moment, and that's something I picked up from my brother Doug. He's a drummer and a musician as well, and something he's always mentioned to me that he wishes he heard more in music is improv like that. It's just like spontaneity, you know, just human magic like that. Everything is so rigid and planned, you know, everything is on a click, everything is tight, produced and polished, but like raw, just letting go and just jamming for a little while is something you really don't hear enough on modern records.
I'm a very big complainer. Joel knows, everyone in any of my bands know about that exact thing. I fucking hate the way that, like, it's
Bring the humanity back.
yeah. There
Bring
a
the
lot
humanity
of the you know the flattening, the loudness wars, and the this everything snaps. Like I refuse to do the snapping to the grid drum stuff. I think it's just not for. I don't know. I'm not knocking you if you do it, because there's many great drummers who do it and they have their reasons.
No, and
I don't fuck with it.
the fact that Ivan and I took this approach where the tempos change a lot. There's different time signatures all over the place. It's very chaotic, but it's planned to be that way. But that approach, in and of itself, it can be very challenging, especially working remote. You know, it's something you would ideally do live together,
Right.
but we figured it out. We made it work.
No, I think it's refreshing. You know, I think that's one of the things that makes the album stand out to me.
It's that section in that song that might be my favorite moment in the whole EP.
I have a question, and I've always wondered this about bands who like, I guess, do like a jam part of their songs live. Do you play differently live every time, or do you stick with what you recorded on the track that people hear?
So, a lot of the time with like solo sections, I allow myself to improv a lot live. There are some moments where like the solo in Weeping Demon, obviously that's very distinct. It's a very important melody, especially the first part of it, where I'll try and play that note for note like I do in the record. But otherwise, I try to just let myself have fun. You know, like the main riffs that carry the story, I try to play that as close as possible. But otherwise, yeah, absolutely. I love experimenting live. I love improv.
Oh, okay, so
I love-
if you know the record and you see the band live, you're going to get a special.
Yeah,
You know,
that's my
you almost-
preference. I love when the live experience is completely different from the album.
Oh yeah,
That's my preference.
very cool.
I was watching a documentary that Iron Maiden made, the Flight 666 in 2008.
Yeah,
And they just showed Adrian just like jamming out, Adrian Smith, and they're like,
it's fucking awesome.
I forgot who it was. I think it was Nico, the drummer, saying it. Like, he never plays the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's always, like there's just magic in his playing that you can never I think Dave Murray, the other guitar player, even more so. There's just some magic in how he...
I love when drummers do that too, especially.
Yeah.
I love when drummers just take a minute to just cut loose and just rip that shit up by themselves for a while. Like, I remember back in the day when I would see From Autumn to Ashes all the time. Francis Mark would do that sometimes. Like in between songs, he would just rip that shit up.
I mean, I've seen them like 4 times.
I saw them like so many fucking times.
I didn't get to see them back in the old days before they broke up.
Yeah.
But, like watching him, like I've seen him. I think they've done Reflections every time, and he never screams that song the same way. Like
No.
the first time I saw him during the breakdown, he like fell on the ground. Like it was like, well, like he like threw himself on the ground screaming. It was
I remember seeing those guys at places that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Venues like the downtown in Farmingdale. Like I used to be there every weekend when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's that. I think getting back to your that's funny because From Autumn to Ashes, I know this is true of you. From Autumn to Ashes is such a huge influence on everything I do.
I feel like they're such a formative Long Island band.
They really. I mean, if
say.
you're from here, if you're into that, the 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 messier side of metalcore, or the more the heavier side of the emo sound, that's like a seminal band. But um, I don't, maybe this is probably intentional, or maybe I'm thinking too deep. But Wavering Will, like the will wavering, is where you guys kind of let loose and played.
Yeah.
That
So that, I mean, it's like retroactive but intentional.
I feel
The
that.
name.
I have a lot of things like that.
Really funny thing that happened during recording that section especially is my guitar has an active pickup, and my pickup was dying while I was recording the take that I stuck with. And so the sound started getting dirtier and noisier, and I was worried it was gonna sound like it kind of does sound like shit, but in a way that works and like lent itself well to the narrative. So I just left it. It was just the battery dying in my guitar. And so the fuzz got noisier and noisier, and there was more static over time.
That's from
as
your
the
battery
section-
dying?
Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah. And I'm usually more diligent about like not recording for too many hours on end to avoid that scenario. But like that day, I was just locked in, and I kept going and going and going.
AI could never, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about when I say bring humanity back, human experimentation, and just freeform art like that. That's it. You know.
I think in a time where it's just so normalized for, I mean, I don't know what the fuck they actually.
So my dying
do.
battery is the wavering will.
Well, it's so normalized right now for people to like, well, this could be a mistake, so I'm gonna just prompt it, or I don't know what the AI. I don't even. That's those people in a different world.
Not making mistakes is the
But-
mistake.
Like,
Exactly.
I think for people doing it the way you're describing and the way I do it, that really want to push that just real rough, ugly humanity and especially heavy music. I think this is a time for us to shine. Like, if you're looking for something human and real, then there's people out there like Donner and the Devil. Look up Donner and the Devil Bandcamp if you're looking to get away from this fucking AI shit. But what does this song do in the narrative of the album?
And so in Donner's narrative, right? Wavering will is when it becomes apparent to Donner that the weeping demon is actually a part of him.
They're one and the same.
Yeah.
So I was feeling that before, but I don't want to say it. I didn't want to spoil it.
The song starts off really heavy and conflicted, and it's like a war of wills at first. And as we get further into the song, it gets more chaotic and more intense, and the tempo quickens, and things get louder and louder until there's that climax with that moment that we just talked about with the freeform jam section,
Right.
where things just kind of like ease up. Everything just lets go. And that's the moment when Donner realizes he wants to let the demon take over. He knows what it is, and he wants to submit to it. And it's just this release. It's this release for him. And it's freeing, in a way.
What this reminds me of, at least like theme-wise, I suppose, it's almost like somebody who, say like you're either a drinker or like you're addicted to something, right? And you're like on a clear and narrow path trying to be a good person. And then, it gets really stressful, you get overwhelmed, and then like the bottle's right there. And I feel like what you're saying is like that's that moment where you finally just take a big chug,
Yeah.
and it's wrong, but
Exactly.
for every second you're doing it, you're like, at least I'm at peace in this moment. I think that's like the moment he's talking about.
You look around you at the world that you're living in. Everything feels stacked against you. And, things aren't going your way, and it feels like they never will. It feels like everything is impossible. It feels like the odds are insurmountable. And sometimes in moments like that, it's very tempting to just let go of your inhibitions.
To become insurmountable too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To let the darkness in, right?
Yeah.
We had demoralization, destabilization. What's this one?
Right.
For that.
So the wavering will, the bigger aspect of it is it's the will of the people. It's the will of people in society. Their will is wavering to fight back against the systems of oppression. right? Things go on and on and on. They flood the zone with all this random shit, all this different information. It makes it hard to keep up with everything they're doing behind the scenes. And it gets to a point where you're so fucking overwhelmed by it all, by everything happening all around you all the time. Wars are being fought on the other side of the planet. It feels like it has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with you. There's people struggling with addiction all around you, and it's because of these systems of healthcare and government that take advantage of people, and it all becomes too fucking much. And sometimes you get to a point where you just have to shut it off. You just have to step outside of it.
A friend of mine, I bring him up almost every episode now. I have a friend that I do music remotely with. My project Day Falangori, my best friend Ben, who lives in Florida. He said to me on the phone a couple weeks ago, he said, like, the worst form of disinformation is overinformation.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting so much information right
It's
now.
too much to process.
Constantly getting news updates or whatever the fuck on your phone that we don't know even where to begin to sift what's true.
That's the point of it.
Yeah.
That's the point, is to overwhelm you.
And that's not by accident.
No, absolutely. The point is to overwhelm you to the point where you no longer have the will to resist it.
If I can make you look away, I can reach into your pocket. I just have to gross you out enough to do it. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
That's
That's it.
Sleight of hand.
And it's about what the individual does in those moments where everything becomes completely overwhelming like that. A lot of times people retreat within themselves. They lean on that darkness within themselves to get through that.
That's I mean, shit, if that was the ending, that would be the darkest.
So that's crisis. That's
Crisis.
the third stage of that conspiracy theory. It's the crisis. It's the crisis among the people. It's the manufactured crisis.
Wow. So I would like to just make sure before we go forward that we don't skip anything about the music of Wavering Will, because there's so much going on here.
There's a lot in Wavering Will. Like I mentioned, there's that moment in track 1 in Warning Signs in the bridge. It comes and goes. It's very quick. It's the heaviest part of that song. If you pay attention, the riff in that section sets up the main motif in Wavering Will. It's what the whole song plays off of, and that is constantly transformed and expanded on throughout the whole song. And then that itself also sets up the main melody of the finale.
It's like the songs are like building blocks.
Yeah.
Like a staircase.
There's all these little hidden connections through them that snowball into this greater whole.
So the last song on the album, this is my personal favorite, Wild Abandon.
I think a lot of people feel the same. This has become a favorite among probably everybody that's heard it. I bounce between Wild Abandon and Wavering Will.
I do as well. Wild Abandon is
just fucking crazy from start to finish. It just immediately kicks things up with those drums. Ivan just comes in real hard because it trails off at the end of Wavering Will for like almost a minute. It gets real quiet. The reverb fades into the distance for a while, right? And then boom. So, Wild Abandon. This is normalization. This is the normalization phase of the 4-stage plan.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the demon's in control now. Demon's in control. We're going to see what happens. Right? And there's no clear resolution to this song. Intentionally so. Because it as if to ask a question, right? Are we going to continue to accept the normalization of this behavior, of this new reality? Or are we going to try to fight against it? Are we going to resist it? Are we going to find that will to resist it again? Or are we going to just let the demon take the reins and run with it? And that's how it ends off. Just from start to finish, it's just chaos. So that's what, and it's intentionally that. The whole song is fucking chaos. It's all over the place, right? Because
Wild Abandon.
that's what happens when the demon's in control. When the powers that be get their way, and everything's going their way, everything fucking starts falling apart. Fighting wars nobody gives a fuck about. Gas prices are going through the roof. It's concentration camps. Shit's getting out of control.
Yeah.
But then on the personal narrative, right? That's losing yourself to addiction, right? That's taking risks. That's not giving a fuck anymore. This is who I am now. This is what I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna be this until I die, and that's the way I want it. That's the mentality. That's the mentality.
The, that's dark, man. It's like the it, it's there's a lot of stories like fighting a demon, fighting that temptation, that devil on your shoulder, that end with at least some semblance of trying to overthrow it. Sometimes it ends tragically, sometimes there's a happy resolution, but you did that shit in like reverse.
Well, you have to remember, this is just the beginning of Donner's
Sure,
turn. There's
yeah.
no clear resolution here because this isn't the end. There's still plenty more of this fight left to fight if we want to find a will to fight it. It's up to us. It's up to Donner. He has to make that choice. We have our leaders trying to tell us this is the new normal, right? But does it have to be? Do we have to accept that? And then there's the realization that maybe actually things have always been this way, and now we're just more aware of it. Right?
That's like the most terrifying part, dude.
Yeah.
Is like
Now it's
everything
just,
went wrong, and I woke up the next day, and it was a normal day. Because every day everything goes wrong.
and so it's that realization, and how you go on from that point, knowing that. It's how you choose to continue living your life knowing that. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to do anything about it? Are you going to accept it? Or is it normal to you? Or are you going to refuse that?
And if that's too heavy for you, so is Donner and the Devil. But if you want to open your third eye, listen to it today. After you
Goddamn,
watch
fucking
this. The link is in the description.
I want to tell you, Donner and the Devil is too heavy for you. Listen to it anyway.
show it to your younger siblings.
Yes.
I want to say it, just that it's almost like it, and if I'm wrong here, stop me. But it starts with Donner stepping out of line, and the way that you frame that ending, at least to this arc of it, to this EP, it's almost like the encouragement is step out of line if this isn't normal to you. Is that something you
It is.
pick up with?
And he's going to learn later on that everything he's experiencing now is a necessary part of his journey. It's necessary for him to get to the other side. He has to go through all of this first. He has to understand all of this first.
Wow. Is there anything about the next Donner and the Devil endeavor that you would like to share with us today?
I have a full album planned. Yeah.
Awesome.
How much can I tell you about it? It's titled Safer This Way. So
We got a title drop, ladies and gentlemen. Donner and the Devil, Safer This Way, coming at some point in the future.
it's gonna be something between Warning Signs and my first album, Laid to Waste. Laid to Waste was a little more laid back. It was more like jazz fusion, more piano driven. It's gonna be more like that, but it's gonna have a lot of that darkness that comes with Warning Signs.
Where does Laid to Waste fit into the narrative? If you could give us a brief synopsis of that.
Laid to Waste, ironically, actually is the end. Laid to Waste is the story.
shit.
Laid to Waste ends on a very uplifting and freeing note, and it's the end of his journey where he finally comes to terms with what he is. I don't want to spoil the narrative too much, but like, Laid to Waste is about the death of ego. That's what it's about. It is about finally letting go of that and understanding what you are in relation to other people and the universe. Like we've mentioned several times, how we're all connected. Our souls are kind of one. They're part of this greater whole, right?
The collective conscious.
It's him realizing that and understanding it and coming to accept it and coming to accept that himself as an individual does also have value, but it's okay. It's okay to be both. It is okay to allow that to come to an end. It's beautiful because it ends. Something is beautiful because it's not permanent. And that's what Laid to Waste is about.
That's brilliant.
It's tearing down all of the pain and all of the frustration and dissatisfaction and anger, and it's going through all the pain to get there. It's laying to waste his entire identity.
So, when you said this new album, is like somewhere between Laid to Waste and Warning Signs.
So Warning Signs is the beginning.
Right.
Laid to Waste is the end. This is somewhere in between.
And does this complete the narrative? Is there more?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
We'll see. I never want to close the door on it permanently.
Sure. So before you brought up Old Bones, your band that you're rapping today.
Yes.
Actually, like maybe 2 weekends ago, I saw you at Shaker's Pub singing in the band Lamora.
Yes, Lamora.
MGR show with we had Citadel from out of state.
Yep.
We had Gunblade. We had Some of the Play. That was an awesome show.
Awesome fucking show.
You did a great job. You were my favorite band of the night. And so Old Bones,
Lamora, and then I also do stuff just as plain old Dan Walsh sometimes.
So you have 4 different musical projects going on, and I see you've done some collaborations with people.
Yes.
Maybe some going on with us soon. Do you see any connection between the Donner and the Devil story and any of those other
Absolutely.
bands?
Well, for starters, there was the connection I mentioned to Old Bones with Weeping Demon.
Sure.
And how that just ties us together in real life. But with Lamora, yeah, absolutely, there's a connection between Donner and the Devil and Lamora. Interestingly, when I was first writing Laid to Waste, Donner and the Devil's first full album, originally it was going to be a lyrical project. It did have lyrics. I have lyrics for most of those songs. And as I started recording it, I realized I liked it better instrumental. And this isn't going to exclusively be the case with Old Donner and the Devil stuff. It just happened to be how I preferred that album.
Sure.
But I had lyrics, and I liked those lyrics a lot. I just felt the music worked better without it. So some of the lyrics that I developed in Lamora actually were borrowed from some of my Donner and the Devil lyrics. I took them and reworked them a little bit. So there are definitely lyrical connections in some Lamora songs that reference things from Donner and the Devil.
So it's like you're maybe telling another angle of that story with Lamora.
Yep.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And how about the Dan Walsh stuff? Anything there? Or is that kind of...
I mean, Dan Walsh is the point of the songs I do as Dan Walsh is just for me to be honest as myself and keep it about my real personal experience in
Okay.
life. Donner and the Devil is about the metaphor, telling the story through the lens of the fictional character Donner. It's the whole point of that. But me as Dan Walsh, I like to just be real. You know? I write shit about my experience and I'm just fucking honest and raw about it. That's my whole thing.
I have a challenge for our viewers. Listen to Amora and try and in the comments if you can tell us what lyrics you could think came from or would have went on which Donner and the Devil song. Let us know in the comments. I'm curious to see if people can figure it out.
Do you have more stuff out though?
Frustratingly, we haven't recorded yet.
You have to scour the internet for live clips on Instagram.
We have some live clips. I've done a few little lyric videos.
That's a great challenge.
A couple of those videos may be referencing what I was just talking about.
So if you can find those lyric videos,
we'll give you a shout out next episode.
You can place them to a Donner and the Devil song.
Those videos are from the recent show at Shakers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where
the Moon Groove, the lighting that you guys do with Moon Groove is just fucking awesome. So I was like, couldn't help it.
Yeah. No, those videos came out really cool.
Yeah.
That's Tom and Alex are.
Yeah, those guys are great. I love them.
I was just there collecting money, but I don't want to take any credit for that. But I'm just happy to be part of the team.
Yeah, it was awesome. I can't wait to record with Lamora. I've been I've been barking up that tree for a while now. I've been trying to get those guys. We're like starting to, but everybody's busy. Everybody's got their day jobs, you know. So I just want to perform in whatever capacity I can, whether it's with them, whether it's by myself, with Old Bones. I'm trying to just fucking do everything I can. So
get out there and play. Yeah.
when they're ready, I'm ready, you know. And when we do record, I would love to bring Lamora here. Talk about shit because
that would absolutely.
I love those guys and they would love to be here. And
no, I'd love to have them on, have the band on because they seem like really cool dudes.
I'm very excited about
the
stuff that we've been working on lately.
And the band is phenomenal, man. I don't even know how to fucking describe it.
I'm very, very blessed.
I was trying to tell
check out
Tom,
the videos, you know.
Tom was like, what? Tom from Moongroove from the Stitch Up was like, what kind of band it is? I was like, the first time I heard you guys at Nostalgia.
It's a little hard to describe. We're kind of all over the place.
I said like kind of heavy Alice in Chains, but I don't even want to say
like
that.
Some thrash punk. There's like some grungy shit.
Dude, you had a song that sounded like Worship to me. Well, Fran Mark's Worship. I was like you had like a little bit of grunge, a little bit of like punk, a little bit of heavy, and then that like ambient.
And that's the thing I love about these guys is they're not so attached to any one particular sound.
Yeah,
they're open to experiment.
That's why I love playing with the Stitched Up because we all, the five of us, all come from like five different, not total. I don't want to say five different, but we have our own.
Yeah, you have all
personalities and
their own.
Well, like I'm the metal guy. Like I'm gonna wear my Iron Maiden shirts and my Judas Priest shirts, my old school like heavy metal. I'm always wearing like the band shirt and like our guitar player Sean, who's also producing us. He's like your kind of hippie sort of deadhead wacky.
I've gone through phases that I cycled through in my life. Dan Walsh started off as a folk rock singer songwriter, and then I got really into jazz, and then I got super into metalcore. And
tune in next month to see Miami.
Dan Funk.
So I honestly I've actually been thinking about getting Dan Walsh out and starting performing by myself. If you have any acoustic shows you're planning on doing,
hell yeah,
let me know. Hit me up. I'm gonna join the lineup because I got a lot of fucking material.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta get out and do that.
I'm gonna pause it there.
So I want to thank you, first of all, for sharing so much of that with us.
Thanks for having me.
You have so many things going on in your songs that, I mean, we could have talked for a couple hours about each one. There's so many conversation starters. You have some great ideas. And as always, here at Compost Universe, we're trying to make connections. Before having... I mentioned that you were our first guest in a while. We kind of took a break from having guests on, and we did a 3-part episode on my concept, Slip.
Yeah.
Which is basically a story about temptation. It's we use the motif of a vampire, and like your weeping demon story of that devil on your shoulder. That's the vampire.
The manipulator.
It's
sowing the seeds of discontent to feed off of the result.
Right. I have the album cover of a guy looking through a beer glass.
Yeah.
It's actually me looking through a beer glass because it was just a cool picture. My friend was like, you should use that as an album cover. But it's like the temptation to fall into like addiction, to vice.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly the same kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, when you let that run, when you lose the will to fight that, to keep in control of that, that's where the vampirism, vampiricism, I don't know what the fuck that word is, the becoming a vampire comes in. So I think that's a really cool, like, thematic parallel. And you talking about where Donner dies and enters like that line he's on to figure out his final resting place. I briefly talked about it in those episodes. The book Elsewhere, which it takes place at the end of the Ghost City Limits story, at least the first kind of cycle of it. The main hero, Sheldon, dies, and he ends up on this giant like continent in the middle of the river Styx, where it's like a trial to decide where his final place is going to be. And the idea of there being, the book is world building. It portrays the river Styx as like a big ocean of just the cosmos beyond our living world. And if you guys watching, if you were paying attention to the last episode, I kind of talked about we stayed within this big triangle. The book elsewhere is the stuff outside of it, the many realities and domains that exist, and you kind of seem to touch on that, where there's
Yep.
different places you could go after
Yeah.
your life comes to an end. So
There's absolutely room to connect those universes because of the nature of the subject matter. Like, for example, the Deadline. That's actually I had an idea for a song based on the Deadline that I wanted to do.
Deadline.
It was one idea that I showed you that I was working on that I think we
Okay,
should collab on.
that's a great idea, man. The Deadline. I love the idea of. There's so many things you could do with that. I
Yeah.
love that. When I talk to you, when I think about how, because I'm always thinking about when I talk to people in this capacity, how can I connect what I do to what they're doing? That's the whole point of the verse, the podcast. I'm
And that's what being human is about.
I
It's about
see
connecting with other humans.
almost like the world that Donner and the Devil and Lamora and some of that other stuff exists in, and then my world, the ghostly limits, the They Found Glory, the Stitched Up, the Sun and Moon. There's almost like somewhere along the way there's a door between those two worlds, or a gateway.
Absolutely.
A different aisle in the same library, man.
Yeah,
Hell
we
yeah.
keep saying branches on a tree, books in a library, and it's just it's
Think you're in a
it's-
different aisle and you're just on the other side of the same shelf you just looked at in the other aisle.
the possibilities are endless, man. I think we could do something really cool together. But
Hell yeah.
once again, thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks
It's
for
great to
having
have you. So, Donner and the Devil Bandcamp, Laid to Waste is on there, Warning Signs is on there, and
Couple of random demos.
the Rainy Day,
Yeah, Rainy Day
Cold
Blues.
Comfort Blues.
Cold
That's a
Comfort.
great one.
That's actually low key. That's a demo from Safer This Way. It's an unfinished project. It's just the bass and the keyboard because I thought it sounded nice just as its solo jazz piece or standalone.
Yeah,
But
I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
do a.
That's probably my favorite thing on there.
I'm gonna do a bigger version of that.
If you're catching shows out here, check out Lamora. Follow Moon Groove Records on YouTube, Instagram. Subscribe. Follow Compost Universe. Thank you again to Joel behind the camera. Thanks for checking us out. We'll be back sometime soon.
Check out Warning Signs. It's available everywhere.